House of the Dragon Season 2 hinted at the origin of Daenerys' dragon eggs, sparking questions for George R.R. Martin to address. The dragon eggs given to Rhaena were claimed to be Dany's, potentially connecting Dany and Rhaenyra in an intriguing way. George R.R. Martin may never fully explain the story behind Daenerys' dragon eggs, leaving it open to interpretation and theories. House of the Dragon Season 2 seemed to finally provide an explanation for where Daenerys' dragon eggs came from, and it leaves George R.R. Martin with some questions to answer. Season 2 saw Rhaenyra sending Rhaena and her young sons to the Vale for protection, bringing with them baby dragons and 4 dragon eggs, stating that Rhaena would be taking care of the future of their house. The origin of Daenerys' 3 dragon eggs is lost in the mysteries of House Targaryen's history, but the episode's director stated that these were hers, via Mashable, raising even more questions. House of the Dragon is based on Fire and Blood, a companion book to George R.R. Martin's A Song of Ice and Fire novel series. The Dance of the Dragons is one of the book's many segments, examining what was essentially the downfall of Targaryen dragon riding in Westeros. Years later, the last dragon died, and it wasn't until Daenerys birthed her 3 petrified eggs, in a miracle of magic and mysticism, that they returned. The eggs were gifted to Dany by Magister Illyria Mopatis of Pentos, who claims that they're from the Shadowlands beyond Ashkai. How House of the Dragon seemingly explained the origin of Daenerys' dragon eggs. Following the episode where Rhaena is given the eggs, director Jita Vasant Patel confirmed that those were the 3 eggs that would later become Drogon, Rhaegar, and Viserion. Showrunner Ryan Condal later clarified that they weren't definitively Dany's eggs, via Idoi, but said it was one potential possibility. Of course, Martin's book canon and the television canon are different, but when TV decisions answer potential questions from the books, it still creates important discussion topics about the broader mythology. So if those were Dany's dragon eggs, Syrax would be the mother of her dragons, connecting Daenerys and Rhaenyra in an interesting way. This seems consistent with the mythology HBO is building with its Targaryen female leads, but it's still not the perfect explanation regarding Martin's books, where there are more likely theories about Daenerys' dragon eggs. House of the Dragon's momentary confirmation of Daenerys' dragon eggs sparked some divisive responses from audiences for this reason, as one of the many examples of the show deviating from the source material in seemingly unnecessary ways. How do Daenerys' dragon eggs end up in the Shadowlands after HOTD? Considering House of the Dragon's route of Daenerys' dragon eggs, the biggest mystery is still trying to figure out how the eggs made it all the way to the Shadowlands. On the one hand, this could just be an offhand thought George R.R. Martin made early on in the book series before he planned much of his larger lore. He recently expressed that there were a number of decisions made in the early books that don't really make much sense anymore, via Oxford Writers' House. But there are still ways this one can be sorted out canonically that make sense. On the one hand, Illyrio Mopatis may just have had false information, and the eggs might not have ever gone that far. But on the other hand, there were roughly 170 years between the dance and the events of Game of Thrones for those eggs to travel the world. Dragon eggs became a wealthy commodity after their supposed extinction, and Essos seems to be the place where such mystical items seem to float around. One potential explanation House of the Dragon can offer is that the eggs were stolen by the Triarchy, but there are plenty of potential solutions. Will GRRM ever fully explain Daenerys' dragon eggs? Realistically, George R.R. Martin will likely never provide an explicit timeline or explanation for Daenerys' dragon eggs. Given the mechanics of how Fire and Blood works, with unreliable narration and many critical points left to uncertainty, Martin doesn't want his Targaryen history to be definitive. It's possible that the Fire and Blood sequel will continue to expand on potential theories, but it seems unlikely that he'd go on a tangent in the Winds of Winter or a Dream of Spring to track the origin story for those eggs. There are far more pressing matters. One of the most common theories regarding Dany's dragon eggs is that Alyssa Farman, a woman during the reign of King Jaehaerys, stole them from Dragonstone and escaped to Essos with them. Corlys Velaryon even believed that he had found her ship as far as Ashai, according to Fire and Blood, which would explain how the eggs got there. It isn't confirmed that those were Daenerys' eggs, but the theory works a bit better than the one formed in House of the Dragon.